What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Game On Improve Your Health podcast. Today's episode journey is being guided by none other than your host, Austin J, or hallucinodream, if you know him from the gaming community. And today's topic is a follow-up and question and answer to last week's episode, which was on the nutrition series part 3 about fats. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and enjoy this episode. There's a little update on the intro there. Did you hear that? The bow wow wow wow. Anyways, one day we'll get that. One day we're going to get that made into a more professional type, or come up with a better intro. If anybody has any ideas, by all means, let us know. Thank you for those who are rejoining. If you haven't yet, go back and listen to next week, go back and listen to next week's episode. If you're able to do that, there's a massive prize for you. Go back and listen to last week's episode and get some of that information on fats and why they're important, how they help you, and some of the misconceptions about them. I'm not going to drag this episode out because we didn't get any questions. If anybody has any questions, please submit them. We didn't get any questions that I know of. I did not actually check the questions that may have came from the website. So if there are, I'm going to add that into a 5th week, which should be coming up this month. So I hope I didn't miss any. I apologize if I did, but I do want to start this episode by talking a little bit about random topics. Sometimes I enjoy doing this, but for those who may be, this goes for anybody in general, but specifically the younger generation, the younger people, people who may be just getting into jobs, just starting to work. I know when I was younger, so I was just moving the camera, I was panning it to be able to see my daughter, because she just moved, she's taking a nap. I know when I was younger, my attitude was incredibly awful. If I had somebody tell me, this back then, or, if I would have had somebody tell me this, and not somebody, there was a lot of different people I looked up to, but if I was told this more often than I was, and I'm sure I was told this a couple different times, I may have reconsidered. But again, when I was younger, I know my attitude was a little off the handles here, and I do apologize for anybody that I grew up with who may have had to deal with me. But working at a job, so if you have a job or anything, if you're part of a project in school, if you just want to or have to clean the house, clean your room, try to do the best that you can. Okay, try to put actual work into doing that. Create good habits. That's what I'm trying to say. So an example would be, let's say you have to go to work. Let's say you have a job and you don't particularly like it, but you have to have the job, right? Let's say you're younger. Let's say I had a job at a restaurant when I was younger, and I had to clean the floors, mop the floors. Let's say you had to go mop the floors. Let's say no one's there to monitor you, and if you don't actually, you can brief over the floors, do a very half-assed job, and when you do, no one's even going to notice. So let's say you take that route. You do that every day at the job. No one even notices. The whole work setting aside, the floor aside, you're creating a habit. So now you're building a habit for yourself where you don't actually put that much effort into this work. This is going to carry over into different aspects of your life, including, and this is what is important that I think I would have listened to more, including what you actually want to do. So, and I'll give you an example, a real life example. I played sports, specifically soccer. I like to think I was pretty good, but there was a lot of good players on my team at the time as well. But I could have been a lot better. I absolutely refused to even practice hard whatsoever. I basically didn't. As a matter of fact, I was benched my junior year because I had such a bad attitude, and I thought I didn't need to actually do the work. I could just produce results, right? And this was a habit that was being built. I feel like over a period of time where I really I wasn't doing very much work in any other aspect of my life at the time because my attitude was pretty bad. Um, I'm not blaming anybody but myself, by the way. But I didn't realize that the potential, what potentially was happening there, where when I don't actually do the work in other aspects, it's going to carry over. It's building habits. That's the point here. This whole podcast, One Punch, is about building healthy habits, right? And unfortunately, for those, or fortunately, it depends on how you look at it. Those habits are included in work and school and everything of the sort. So I have to say, because I've seen it, I've heard it, and I think to myself, is how is I think to myself sometimes, how does somebody just skate by and be okay with it or whatever? But that's what I did. That's what I did when I was younger. So I'm not trying to hound anybody, or even me thinking like that. It's like I instantly go back to, well, that's exactly what I used to do. So it's not like I didn't do it. But I probably would have been nicer if I didn't. I could say, if my brother ever listens to this podcast, he probably didn't. He probably didn't do. He probably put 100% into everything he did, because he's a perfectionist. So you're welcome, bro. Uh, we'll see if he listens. If somebody else listens, don't tell him. Just tell him to listen to this episode. But he's a good guy too. No, he really is. He's a good guy. But yeah, he probably put 100% into everything. That's just the kind of person he was. And he would do one thing, right? So he would do like one thing, do 100%, make sure it was finished. I would do a dozen things. Well, let's say I would do 10 things, all at 10%, and the chances of any of them getting finished were pretty slim because I was only doing 10%, and the chances of me mastering any of those was also slim. And I think that's where, early on especially, I ran into some issues, and and I feel like there's just a little bit of something going on. We have to, what I think is, and sometimes people aren't even aware that that's what's going on, or that that's what they're doing, that they might be actually creating a bad habit for themselves, setting themselves up for, not the best success in other aspects or other projects, and just got to talk to people, right? Or if you need help learning how to actually like focus on one thing at a time, which I think I probably should still do. Find a coach, find somebody who can help you do that. Attend some of those webinars, those free classes that teach focus and productivity and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different resources out there. I know this has nothing to do with nutrition, but as a matter of fact, this actually, now that I think about it, kind of does. My nutrition has fallen off a little bit because I've been so busy. I haven't been putting a lot of effort into the meals that we've been making and eating, and that's kind of my job here in my household as well. Christina that's why I'm always making the podcast while the baby's sleeping. Christina is going to work. She runs a whole giant franchise. It's probably way more stressful than raising this child is, and trust me, being home with her is pretty stressful. And she does a fantastic job, and we're very grateful for that. That's why I'm able to be here, but that's my job, right? So I need to put a little more effort into that. But and I actually just realized that. So I am, we're trimming out some of the other stuff, and by we I mean me, to be able to get back on track with nutrition. And if my nutrition falls because I'm basically making the meals and doing the shopping and all this stuff, which is great, by the way. If I want chocolate, pick it up. Not that I can't do that anyways, but still. Then my daughter's nutrition slips, right? And then, of course, Christina's nutrition slips. So it's kind of a downward spiral. sort of deal here. So I just wanted to talk about that, and that does carry into nutrition for sure as well. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just about 7 or 8 books over here of recipes with some magazines too. Fall magazines with pumpkin spice, because pumpkin spice is the greatest. And Halloween and Thanksgiving recipes in here that I've pulled out probably a week ago, and they've just been sitting. I've probably looked through them one time. That's the plan for this coming weekend, is to look at them more. Actually devise a big list of the meals that I like from them, write them down. I wrote down a couple of them, but wasn't enough, right? So then you need the ingredients and all that stuff. Take some time. Just gotta focus. And I know people could, if somebody's listening to this, they're like, you don't even do all of that. Well, yeah, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm aware of it. I'm aware, and I'm working on it. So I just wanted to talk about that. I'm not going to drag this episode out too much. I will end the episode, because I don't want it to be overly long. I will end the episode with, and I think the kid child is waking up, so that was kind of good timing. I do want to end the episode with, fats are not your enemy, okay? Your brain is fed by fats. You need fats to fuel your brain throughout the day. So go back and listen to the episode, last week's episode, gather some of that information. If you have any questions, a 5th week is coming up here in October. I would love to answer any of them that may not have come in or have been answered this or any of the previous question and answers. So, and go from there. Or I'm willing to have conversations with people if they want to, through Discord or through some other avenue where we can chat. You can ask me questions directly. I would love to do that. It's not a problem at all. Contact me or us here at any of our links. They're in the description on YouTube or the podcast platform. If you're watching on YouTube, they're over here on the left as well. And thank you for tuning in and listening, and I hope to see everybody in next week's episode. Thanks.